Hi, everyone. I hope that you are doing well in these difficult times and that you're staying safe. We're gonna show off a showcase a few profiles from the video game industry. So these are UX professionals coming either from UX design, UI design, accessibility specialists, and user researchers. So we're gonna go one after the other. I'm gonna invite all these people on stage. So we have 5 people, but 2 of these people I could not make it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna showcase for them. They sent me a few things to say on their behalf, so I will try to do that the best I can. So quickly, so the 2 people who could not make it is Ian Hamilton, is an accessibility specialist. So I'll do that after we have all the people on stage. I'll explain what he does. And we have Pam Nichols also, who is a UX designer, and she's in New Zealand. So for her, it's like 5 a.m. So it was not easy for her to join the webinar live. So I'm just going to showcase a few of her work. But on stage, we're going to have Alexandria Heston, Adlan Ramli, and Prudi Vimulapalli. I'm sure I did not say that correctly, but you will correct me later on. If I think I saw Alexandria, so I'm going to invite Alexandria on stage. And she's going to showcase her work. So Alexandria is a UX designer. She was working at Magic Leap until recently, sadly. And she's going to tell us all about her work. Hi, Alexandria. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm great. How about you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Yeah, so I'm in Florida right now, so I'm EST. And in the past couple of years, I've kind of focused a lot on the intersection of UX design and virtual and augmented reality technologies. And so I'm here to share my portfolio with y'all today.
So how long have you been working in the game industry? Game or tech overall?
Yeah. So I about games and technology, kind of like back and forth, as like VR, AR is kind of like a very nascent industry. So it's been about like 3-4 years for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So I'm going to try to figure out how to present.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't even know how to. Because I'm going to have
I got
to
it. I got it. I think.
Yeah, screen sharing.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're testing the UX of Livestorm at the same time.
Wonderful. Can everyone see?
I can see it very clearly.
Perfect. So this is the landing page for my portfolio. And so it's kind of like just this intro. So one of the biggest problems that I foresee, especially in my intersection of the industry, is that they don't really know what to call individuals who utilize UX. So I kind of go for the open immersive designer category, because I specialize in UI, UX, and user research as well. It's kind of like a whole gambit. So then after kind of like this, landing page with an intro slide of me and like all of the components that I've done, and these are pictures from like hackathons, as well as published pieces that I've worked on. I go into the background of myself. So this is kind of just like an intro to me. I really enjoy personally when I have kind of the landing page be kind of more personable. And so that I talk a little bit about kind of my interests in how human-computer interaction and immersive computing are combined together. And then I go into kind of my passions about software development, digital design, innovative technologies, et cetera. And then I go into my philosophy of it a bit, because I have a huge admiration for accessibility design, and I am an advocate within virtual and augmented reality for accessible technologies. It's probably one of the most, if not the most important thing to me. So I like to include kind of like my philosophy as like, we have the opportunity and the responsibility for, these emerging technologies to be flexible and accessible. And then of course my contact at the bottom. So then after that is my portfolio page. Now my portfolio is kind of a little bit in progress still, as I just, end my position. So, a couple of these pages are not finished yet, but I've started out kind of with this title. And then I really enjoy Maya Angelou. I find her to be like an incredibly admirable figure in my life. So, and I love this quote. I've learned that I still have a lot to learn.
Yeah.
So I kind of included that. So then individual project pieces, I organize by platform that I've curated them on.
Okay.
And the most recent would be Pancake Pals, to the one that was probably like the latest, which is this manipulator project, which was my senior thesis. And so I kind of organized them in this grid system, and then I have an archive and flat design because a couple individuals are interested in my more like web and mobile work as well. So I have that at the bottom, kind of de-escalating that in kind of like a further down the page, just in case they want to see it. Mm-hmm. So we'll go into one of the project pages. So on Hover, you can see that like you can click into some of these. So we'll start with Pancake Pals, which is my most recent project.
So what did you do exactly on this project?
I was leading the UI UX for the application. So kind of just like a breakdown of what Pancake Pals is. It was a multiplayer cross-platform game. And so it operated on the Magic Leap 1 headset, which is an augmented reality head-mounted device. But it also had a passive spectator view that collaborated with the iOS mobile device as well. So you could enter in multiple different games and kind of passively see what was happening. The project was based in Unity and was completed in early March of 2020.
Okay.
And so as the lead, I kind of worked closely with both art and engineering teams to create an infrastructure capable of, supporting a multiplayer digital environment, but also making that experience visually enjoyable and whimsical. It was a really fun project to work on, and probably one of my favorites.
Is it released?
Yes. So you can see it. I mean, if you have a Magic Leap 1 headset, which not many people do, but I do have a lot of video, and there's a demo at the end of like kind of like what it looks like, what the final product looks like. So when we started in this iteration phases, I kind of went into the like basic high level of what the interaction design would be, because for a lot of products in this spatial computing space, you kind of have to think about first, like, what is your input and what is the interaction, like the main form of interaction design you want. So I started off with kind of these initial, that did not full screen the way I wanted it to. But these are some sketches of initial concept. And then I brought it into Unity and showing that iteration as well, and like different types of layouts that we could have done. And then also button states as well. So this is kind of like the very early phases, thinking about, how users will interact with our products. And then after that, I kind of slowly started working closely with like the engineering department and figuring out the architecture of the user experience. So these are user flows. And prior to kind of like that interaction design work, we did a lot of research into, how to complete this project, who the project was for, doing all of those like end user product kind of theories. And so that informed how this architecture would play out. So in the initial phases, we had, very little knowledge of, who would be, what would be entering the main menu, single player, multiplayer. And that's why it kind of like, we just did really rough sketches, kind of mapping it all out. And then as we play tested, both internally within our department and externally to other users, we slowly started creating this more complex architecture of, breaking down like, okay, so there's one individual who's sending out the invitations and other individuals who are receiving the invitations, and they'll be going through different types of user flows. And so you kind of can see how this like scene architecture gets a little bit more complex. Mm-hmm. And then after that, bringing in all of the different types of host and client user flows, different types of options they'll have within the main menu and games menu as well. It is very small, and I'm very aware of that.
It's okay. I mean, if the people are interested, we'll go on your website.
Oh yeah, we'll check it out. So I collaborated a lot with the engineering department of that, as well as the copy for these different types of user prompts that would come up, informing both the host, the client, and the spectator, any spectators that were on iOS. like what was occurring during the process of getting them into the same digital space. And so that was really interesting because I'd never worked with such a complex system before. And so then, as well as working with the engineering team, I also worked with the arts team and 3D artists, as well as an SFX artist, in curating kind of these visual elements. So there was the 3D art that we worked on, the 2D UI that we worked on, and then also the gameplay UI. So starting off with the 3D UI, we didn't really have much to go off of except for the pancake concept that my lovely 3D artist worked on with me. And so I kind of collaborated with the art department and saying like, okay, so we want the UI to kind of configure itself into this game. How do we go about doing that? So we took this like bulbous shape from like thick dough, texture and cook rate, playing around with like roundness from a skillet. And then I did initial mock-ups of sketches of what the icons could look like. And then we started playing around with size and dimension. So the first formal pass at the icons that we had, the shape language was really off because some icons were too wide and some were too tall. And so then we started iterating on also having a structure of them as well. And like, how do they interact with the space and how do they kind of convey that language of operating within like a physical space. So we started iterating more on like different structures and platforms that they could have. And then slowly but surely kind of getting to that gradient of wanting a seamless, object that it sits on top of with these types of titles underneath and these like very enjoyable elements of these like cute little pancakes that you could
now I want to
with.
eat pancakes. Thank you.
Oh yeah, it's super. It honestly, we went to IHOP a lot during this project though. So then after that, we kind of worked on these 2D prompts as well, iterating on typography and layout. One of the most interesting concepts was kind of marrying these 3D art pieces with these 2D art pieces as well. And so you can see kind of more iterations that I went through, and then kind of these final implementations of these like little pancake icons that sit on these plates with this 2D result screen. And this is the result screen after you finish the game. Yep. And I really enjoy it because the pancake makes faces depending on how well you do in the experience. Which is really
that
fun.
must be really. I mean, the AR have a lot of very interesting and difficult challenges.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So kudos on that.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm looking at the time, so I'm trying to.
Yeah.
So I have a few questions, and the folks who are watching, if you are a recruiter, and feel free to use the chat. To ask questions to Alexandria, and after we move on to the next person, you can chat with her. But I do have a couple questions. So, what sort of a position are you looking for, and in what location are you open to relocation?
Yes. So currently I'm focusing on UI and UX positions. I'm more formally trained in UX design, but obviously I have the capability and ability to do UI as well. In terms of relocation, I'm absolutely open to it, preferably somewhere in the US because that's where I'm based. So if I did have to go to another country, I'd probably need some form of visa sponsorship.
Yeah, and right now it's a bit complicated with
absolutely.
A lot of countries are closing their borders, so it is tough times. But okay, sweet. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention?
Nothing too particular. If you want more information, you can definitely go to my portfolio and look through it, and feel free to email me if you have any questions.
Yes, please, folks, do that. You have at least the LinkedIn account of everybody. So if you're recruiting people, please go on the webinar page, and you'll see all the LinkedIn. And I will post that later on, so you can go contact Alexandria directly.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you so much for participating.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay. So
bye.
I think it's, let's see. I just want to make sure I have my list correctly. We're going to go with Adlan. Now, I think I saw him. Yes, here you are. So I'm going to invite Adlan on stage, who is also a UX designer, and is going to explain to us what he's been doing lately. It's getting ready, as I can see. There's a question in there.
Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, yeah, good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So where are you based?
So, yeah, I'm currently in the United States. So, I'm currently a grad student at NYU focusing on human-centered design and research for emerging technologies. And yeah, I'm currently staying in my aunt's house in Virginia before the lockdown happens. So, yeah, it's been a tough times.
Tough times. So, so how long have you been working in the industry? What were your projects so far?
So yeah, I'm still recently new. So I just graduated in 2018 as an undergrad, and then I worked on like general UX UI tech for like 3 years. But then I kind of specify, and I'm trying to get into more specific for like games in general in 2 years. So yeah, I have game industry for 2 years and general tech for 3 years.
Sweet. So is there, can you show us a few things from your portfolio?
Oh yeah, sure. So do you have the link to my, oh wait.
So you need to share your screen.
Okay.
It's I don't know what do you see, because I have an action button and I think it should say enable screen sharing.
All right. Do you see my screen now?
Yes.
All right, great. So yeah, this is my web portfolio. It's supposed to start from here, from the portfolio, but I'm just going to introduce myself here in the about page. So yeah, you can call me Adlan. I'm a current grad student at NYU, and then I'm currently looking for like a 1-year co-op opportunity for a year, starting from this fall. So yeah, my interests are human-computer interaction, UX design, and AR/VR systems, game dev, and a bit of cognitive science. So yeah, this is just my about page. It has my resume, CV, and then previous collaborators and clients, also my press. So yeah, it's just fun fact for like a business card, because I usually send business cards for like events in general, and then okay, so if anyone remembers it. So yeah, I can move on to my portfolio page. So this is where I document my projects. These are case studies based on independent studies, and then some of them are actually published in specific companies that I really talk to them. Then these are my notable projects. So for this session, I'm not sure if I have the time, but I'm going to focus on 2 projects, Coffee Talk and Explora. And yeah, these are my other projects that you can see here on my website. And yeah, these ones are just archive projects, or just like small projects that are just discontinued. And then, but I mean, I just want to show all my projects.
Yeah, no, you can show it all. So yeah, maybe pick 1 or 2, and can you can walk us through your work you did there.
Yeah, great. So let's just focus on these 2 projects that I'm going to explain for this session. So let's go into this. So this is Coffee Talk. It's a visual novel that I worked on for the last 2 years. So I was a UX UI engineer intern at Toge Productions. It's an indie game studio and publisher based in Indonesia. Oh wait, I should just play the trailer for now. By the way, it's already available on Steam. PS4.
Oh, I've heard of this game. I've heard good comments on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's available on PS4, Xbox, and especially the Switch. And it's like an amazing version on the Switch. So yeah, feel free to try.
Definitely. So you were a UX UI engineer, is that correct?
Yeah. So yeah, I did a bunch of things during the internship. So I was one of the like the lead user research person.
Yeah, like the UX team of when.
Yeah,
I've heard of that too.
Yeah, because the team is really small, and most of them are developers and artists, and they don't have any like background on performing studies, user studies in general.
But it is great. Like small companies, sometimes they don't have any UX expertise. It's great that they did. Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, this was just an internship. So I've only worked there for like 3 months, but it's been a great time working there. So yeah, I'm just going to explain a brief explanation of this game. So it's just It's about people around the alternative Seattle where there's like fantasy creatures that lives in the modern world, and then there will be branching storylines inspired by 90s anime inspired pixel art visuals with jazzy and lo-fi music. So yeah, this is the main inspiration from the game designer. So he is a huge coffee enthusiast, and he went to this coffee shop in Boston, and then he's trying to put the whole experience in the whole game. So yeah, this is a title screen. Yeah, I kind of made this this thing the title screen, and I
Okay.
just want to make it like more relaxed and the ambience, because that's like the most important aspect of the game. So I also applied color psychology. So this is actually the color palette that we use for the artists, just to convey this relaxing, elegant, sophisticated atmosphere for the game. And yeah, these are the
Cowboy
main
Bebop.
inspirations.
You got me
Yeah,
there.
Cowboy Bebop. So yeah, because nostalgia can bring warm and fuzzy
I
emotions. There's
love
like
this
a
anime.
reason behind that.
The
So
music is
yeah.
excellent. Like Yoko
Mhm.
Kanno
That's my
is like, yeah,
favorite as
she's
well.
amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, and also the soundtrack is based on lo-fi jazz or hip hop music. So that's a really great combination for, yeah, this is the composer. His name is Andrew. So yeah, he also has a Spotify and iTunes for like the music. And yeah, so this is when my work really comes into play. So one interesting aspect of the game is skeuomorphic interfaces. So yeah, it's a design of object that inherits the physical appearance of real counterparts. So yeah, this is the main user interface for the coffee making aspect of the game. So you pick ingredients on your cupboard like this, and then you just pick materials that you really want to put in.
Okay.
So yeah, this is an interesting study that I made. So if I use this, which is actually a lot more efficient in terms of interaction compared to this, but it doesn't really there's a different atmosphere if you can pick your own ingredients from like the locker like this, just like in real life, compared to just drop down simple menus. It's efficient, but it doesn't really show the atmosphere of the game. So this is something that's really different compared to mobile applications and tools in general for tech. This is when I actually learned a lot more about game UX, because it's all about the experience of the game, not just only
UX is
efficiency.
life, man.
So yeah,
So what?
this is what I
What
did.
was? Sorry, because of the sake of time, I don't think you're gonna have the time to talk about the second project.
Okay.
But do you have can you? Is there a place where you show your process?
Oh yeah, so so these are just my process. I'm just going to use flow navigation, and then kind of made some improvements. And yeah, maybe I'm just going to run through this one real quick, and then might be touch a bit for the other project, because that one seems to have more process in it. So yeah, this is just the customer page in the notebook.
So were you able to do some user tests? Because you were saying that you did some research also during your internship.
So yeah, this is just the initial feedback survey that I constructed this, and then put some questions.
So it was some remote testing that you did, and then asked people to answer surveys.
Yeah. So we gave out surveys and the demo version of the game for people who are willing to participate, and then there's like 27 respondents, and then yeah, this is the design improvements based on the feedback. So interface is okay, and then it just want a clearer direction of the brewing mechanism, and they don't know what drink that you just made. So after you evaluate that, and then there's this visual, and then there's also the name of it. So it just shows a really it's much improved from the previous one, and they say that's also it's a nice improvement.
Sweet. So all the folks who are interested will go on your website, and there's obviously there's a lot of examples, so that's good.
Yeah, sorry, I can't really explain because of
it's
time.
okay. And
But
it's
yeah,
a
feel
difficult
free.
exercise to do that, by the way. So, like live in front of everybody. So I know that it's
Yeah.
not natural, but the idea is at least that people can see the work that you did and your process, and they're gonna go on your website and check that out, and then contact you directly to ask questions. But I will ask the same question I asked you, Alexandria. What position are you looking for, and what location?
Oh, should I just stop
Oh,
sharing for now?
you can, if you can talk and show stuff, that's fine. If if you just want to stop sharing, it's fine too.
Sorry, maybe I'm just like
Yeah, if you can
scrolling
manage
around
to
like this.
multitask and talk as you scroll, yeah, you can do that.
All right. So yeah, sure. So yeah, I'm really I'm looking. So as I mentioned before, I'm looking for a 1 year co-op, like a co-op
Okay.
full-time position in the fall, like starting from
Okay.
September.
But more
So
in
yeah.
what position? Like still UX engineer, or is there one thing that you prefer over other, between design,
Yeah,
engineering?
I'm really yeah, I'm actually more interested into UX. I'm looking for UX expertise right now because
But
I mean I've
you
done
mean
a bunch
UX
of
design?
things. Yeah,
Okay.
UX design in general. Maybe more into games as well because that's what I really want to
well, this
focus on
stream
in
is
the
all
future.
about games.
Yeah. Okay.
And
that's great.
so regarding location, I'm guessing anywhere in the US?
So yeah, I'm currently staying in Virginia in my aunt's house, but I might be soon back to New York if the pandemic ends really soon. But yeah, I'm an international student, so I would need like a sponsorship for that. But,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's easier if it's close to home. All right. Well, thank you so much.
But I'm actually free to relocate. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm free to relocate, and then just let me know if my work is really if I'm a good fit for the company that they're currently
All right,
hiring.
the word is out. So recruiters that are watching us, please contact Adlam and check out his website, and they're going to contact you directly. Thank you so much for participating. I know it's stressful.
Yeah, thank you as well. Yeah, this is really helpful, and it's really nice meeting you.
I don't know if it's we'll see if it's helpful. But I mean, it's something. We try. We'll see if that's going to help. Take care and stay safe. And thank you so much again for being with us. And I'm gonna be calling on stage Prudvi. Sorry, I apologize. So I think the invitation is out. And Prudvi is a UX researcher, and as he's joining us, hopefully. Oh, there you go. Hello.
Just there for a second, my screen froze. Just I was about to interact.
Of course, it's always the moment you need to come up on stage and everything. Yeah, I know how it feels like.
Well, thank you for waiting, though. So nice to meet you, everyone, and nice to meet you, Celia, as well. Like to meet you virtually, at least for the very first time. So thank you for giving me this opportunity as well.
You're very welcome. I just wanted to know, how do you pronounce your name? Because I probably did not say that correctly.
Prithvi. Just Pru. Yeah. You know, my name actually means Earth, like planet Earth. So it's just a fun fact that I just tell to people whenever they feel sad that they're not able to pronounce my name. So, but it's okay.
Thanks for joining us, Prithvi. Can you tell us where you are situated so far?
Right now, I'm in Ellicott City, Maryland. And I've completed my master's in game design from Full Sail University.
Okay.
So just a little bit background. I've started working in Amazon right after my bachelor's in India.
So which part of Amazon were you working at? Because they have a lot of different groups.
Okay, so I was a tech support agent at the time. So I started hearing the word customer experience a lot from Amazon. That's when I've come to realize, come to know that there is a field specifically, separate for the front end user experience.
Mhm.
And I've started digging in, and then I'm also passionate about video games. So I wanted to do my master's. And fortunately, after I've landed in Full Sail University, I had the opportunity to become a UX researcher, where we were testing games directly made by AAA studios. So the first thing I wanted to say before I even show anything is that I did not work for THQ Nordic or Wargaming directly. As a UX researcher, it's important to tell people that it is through these two organizations that I got a chance to work with the on the AAA games to
Yeah,
game user research.
and I've seen your lab at Full Sail. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is a pretty cool lab, actually. I've thoroughly enjoyed every moment that I've been there, starting from me just being a shadow to all the way till I've led my own projects. And some of the platforms that technologies and stuff they provide there is pretty incredible. So currently I'm working in game user research under my professor, Adams Greenwood Erickson. So through him I was able to test some of the games, and in Full Sail UX lab my program director was Sean Stafford, and even through him I was able to get many other games. So jumping into my portfolio straight away, like this will be my landing page. I just introduced myself, and if they want to know, people do want to know more about me, they can just go to the About Me page. And these are the two the AAA studios that I've mostly worked with, the games that I've worked with. So jumping into it, I have about 10 games here, but then I have another 10 additional unannounced AAA games that I have worked on, including educational websites and as well as one MLS soccer team website as well. I cannot say the name, unfortunately. But then, since I have been studying in Florida, you can maybe probably guess the soccer team that is situated there. So moving on to maybe one of the projects, Pagan Online. It is an ARPG game. It's been tested in our lab for quite some time, even before I've come there. So I have done pretty much everything you can ask for a UX researcher, conducting usability studies, play tests, interviews, contextual studies, benchmark testing, heuristic analysis. So one of the great things that I got a chance to do in the lab was the freedom to experiment on the projects. Even though all these games were time constrained and all AAA games, we had that kind of opportunity, and I was pretty grateful for that. So I do not know what else I can. Would you like to know about me? Because as a UX researcher, I have, like I said, I've done playtests where I would recruit participants, choose on the demographics, and run the playtests, write the reports. And for a usability, on the other hand, we would observe the participants, ask them specific
Well, maybe
questions.
if you could just walk us through the different tests that you conducted, and take an example of your process when you
Okay.
had to set up a test.
Okay, so for example, one of the best games that I think I have thoroughly enjoyed was Pilot Training Next. This is a website. So for this, we have conducted a lot of usability tests for in virtual reality and as well as in Android and iPad applications. So the demographics that we would choose for the kind of participants we would choose for this is every university has students who are veterans. So we would closely choose them to represent this kind of products, just so that we would improve the accuracy. And we would invite them, and then we would start setting up everything, and then we talk to the developers who will be watching just like this via a webcam, and they'll be watching us conduct the study. And before all of this, we'll take research questions, we'll formulate the questions, and we would specifically make as a UX researcher, we have two customers. One is the end user, and the other one would be the developers themselves, because we have to make them comfortable to ask some of the questions that they would like to be answered as they move on to the next stage of production. So we would always tell them that it is okay even if the product is not complete. We won't be giving you data on stuff that you already know, or maybe some aspects of the game or application that may not seem good, and we know that, but we would give you information that is only required for now. So that was the important and challenging aspect as we talk with many developers each week with maybe a art team or a design team or directly through coding team. Some of the things we would ask them is, what would you like to know? And based on that, we would record participants, and like I said, we would start doing the analysis. I mean, the conducting the usability test. And we have used the RITE method, rapid iterative testing environment, where each week we just send them the feedback, and then they would give us new feedback. And so this was something that I've thoroughly enjoyed, Pilot Training Next, because it has virtual reality and as well as Android and iPad applications. Maybe some of the other games I've done is.
So I'm also looking at the time slot.
Oh, sorry.
So what's cool is you have different types of projects you're already worked on, different types of platforms and different types of experiences. I saw that you mentioned eye tracking, and there's different. Did you use other biometrics, or is there any?
Oh yes, we. For usability and stuff, we would always use card sorting. So for one of the games, the unannounced game that is not in the website, they wanted a mobile application where the players can change, customize, or do something before they even jump onto the game. So they were trying to figure out what sort of application, what they would want to see in a home page, and what are some of the things. So for that, we would use card sorting techniques, just giving them the main overview of the things. And sometimes it is organized, sometimes it is where we would ask the participants to organize themselves. And for some of the other projects, I've done art studies as well. Art studies are basically, even before the game is gone into the production phase, we would look at some of the other games that are similar to that genre, and then show them what do you think about this picture, and what are some of the words that you would associate with. So when we give them a survey, we would give them a list of adjectives that they would have to select, like this picture makes me feel that this is an action game, or this is an adventure game, stuff like that. So
a lot of different things in there. So that's good. Is there? Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead.
I was about to try to conclude because I still need to show off two other people by myself, so I was stressed out to be doing that. So I'm going to ask you the same question. What sort of role? I'm guessing UX researcher in games, maybe, or in tech in general. And same question about location. Are you open to relocation?
Yes, so since I'm in the US, even I am an international student, so I'm open to relocate anywhere in the US. So that's not a problem, and most preferably, I would want to work in a gaming industry. But I'm also open for UX in the mainstream UX as well, outside gaming. Although I don't want to, but then it's fine.
You shouldn't say it that way.
No.
All right, so
I've chosen my master's in game design, so it's something that I thoroughly want to do. Yep.
That makes total sense.
So if you have a minute, I just wanted to say something else. So one of the main things as a UX researcher I found was doing the project study is only half of the work. The remaining half is how we present the report to the developers. So the main thing that I would always choose is categorizing the report based on the severity and what they want to see, instead of just writing everything and then just giving it to them, because even there would be time constraints for developers developing games. So that's one of the things that I feel that is really important for a UX researcher to know, and that I've actually been very good at doing so far, is to communicate the results as well as not just doing. And then so I know where the UX research process starts, but where does it end is when we actually submit the report finally. So that's
Yeah,
something that we
and
wanted to do.
I agree completely with you. Like communicating all the problems that you found and make it usable,
Yes.
so that people can have actionables from the reports, and following up with these fixes are
Yeah.
absolutely part of the UX researcher job. Sweet. Thank you so much, Prudvi,
Thank
for
you.
joining us and for showing us all that. I'm glad we had a UX researcher doing that stream, trying to cover a lot of grounds. All right. So thank you again and take care. And I
Bye-bye.
hope that you'll find soon a job like all the people who participated today. Now
Yes.
is the time when I'm going to show off my
And all the
stuff.
best for everyone else. Thank you.
Thanks, Prudvi.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, so let's see if I can do that properly. So I took some notes. I'm going to start with Pam Nichols. She's a UX designer, and like I said, she's in New Zealand, so she could not make it. So I'm going to share my screen. So here's her her website, and I have some notes in here. If you just like give me a minute so I can take a look at that. So Pam is a lead user experience designer, and she's worked on multiple platforms that include video games, augmented reality, web application, and she has worked for EA and Ubisoft, and also worked for Mercedes-Benz, DreamWorks, Scrabble, NBA, and NHL. She loves the challenge of solving complex problems, adapting her process to meet the needs of startups or large-scale organizations. So she's currently looking for a UX manager, director, or lead role. She's open to any location. So she's open to relocation, and she has also worked remotely and on distributed teams for many years. So she's open to that as well. So I'm just gonna show a few stuff from her. This is her portfolio. So here's the page on video games. I'm just gonna it's hard for me to just showcase work from someone that I I don't know. So this is the work, the project Boof Bop from DreamWorks that she worked on. So there's a few screens, so obviously it's on mobile, that she's showing off here. So sadly, I can't ask her process and what were the challenges on that specific project. But I encourage you to look at her website and take a look at all that. The other video game project that she wanted me to show you is Scrabble. So she worked on the UX for that. So there's just a few screens here that you can see. And there's also another project that she wanted me to show you. It's an augmented reality project called TaxBase. So this is it. I'm just gonna play that on full screen so that you can see it. So she worked on the UX for that. I found that quite interesting. Yeah, AR is getting pretty hot right now, and there are so many challenges. This is not what I wanted to do. Didn't click on the right thing. And there's a lot of challenges in AR to solve for. So there's another video here. Let me just show this. That's showing a little bit more what it does. So it's apparently like tagging, and you share stuff from the environment. So these are the three projects that she wanted me to highlight more specifically. So again, this is Pam Nichols. She's in New Zealand currently. She's open to relocation or to work remotely. So I would encourage you to reach out to her. And same thing, you'll have her LinkedIn page on the webinar page, so you can take a look at her portfolio and reach out to her directly. So I hope that I did a okay job at showing up your amazing job that I can see here. It looks quite cool. All right, and the last person that I wanted to showcase here is Ian Hamilton. So I've known Ian for quite some time, for years now. He's the one behind the website GameAccessibilityGuidelines.com, which is a really great website to advance accessibility in your games. Accessibility is really important, is to break the barriers in your game so that everyone can play your game, including people with disabilities. So it's really important to think about that, because otherwise you're just going to put some barriers that are they don't need to be there. And accessible games are also games that is going to be have better UX for everyone. And so Ian has put together this website that I usually recommend during my workshops. It's guidelines to make your game more accessible. And what's great about it is you have like different sections. Like you have like basic, easy to implement guidelines here, so that it's going to be not too complicated for you to make your game more accessible to everyone. So I really encourage you to take a look at this website, whoever you are, so that you can make your game more accessible. Ian is also behind the conference called Game Accessibility Conference. And so I see that it's supposed to be late summer in Seattle 2020. Hopefully they're going to be able to make it work. But it's a conference that's been happening a few years now. It was typically during GDC. So yeah, the conference it's a bit messy this year, but there's great people here sharing their work in accessibility. And Ian also has a blog, so he is explaining all his work. So Ian has been an accessibility specialist. He's worked in that field for 13 years. Initially, he was alongside UX and design, and now he's dedicated solely to accessibility. And again, it's about raising the bar for inclusion of people with disabilities in gaming. And it's about avoiding, again, removing unnecessary barriers from your game so that everyone can play. And Ian is available for consulting work on any need relating to disabled gamers. He's in the UK, but he can work remotely anywhere in the world. So I would really encourage you to take a look at what he's doing. So his recent project has been brought in for include hands-on design work and feedback on individual features, detailed audits and expert review on full builds, development of QA success criteria, internal talks and workshops, advising on user research, recruitment and facilitation, subject matter expert input for R&D prototyping, including on the development of the Xbox Adaptive Controller, development of educational and training materials, and internal standards and guidelines, community engagement, and guidance on complying with the CVAA accessibility legislation, because we also need to comply. So it's not only a great thing to do, it's also required to make your game more accessible. So this is it. I hope I did an okay job at showcasing the work from other people. I'm really sorry that they could not join us live. But again, you have all the websites of everyone. So I want to warmly thank everybody who participated. I hope that's going to be helpful. If you're a recruiter, please reach out to them and spread out their awesome work. If you're looking for a job, let me know. I don't know if I'm going to do that again. It's going to depend if it's useful or not. So it's going to take probably a few weeks to find out if it was really useful. And if it was not useful in that format, maybe we'll try another format. We'll see. But there's also a lot of platforms to post your jobs. I know that grux.org, so grux.org, has a lot of a job listing for UX. So all jobs are related to UX. So if you're a recruiter or if you're looking for a job, you can go check that out. They also have their LinkedIn group page, so you can check that out. I also have my LinkedIn groups called Game User Experience. That group, I put it together because I get a lot of requests from recruiters asking me, hey, do I know a UX designer? I'm like, I know a lot of UX designers. I don't know if they're looking for a job right now. So I created that group so that every time a recruiter is asking me, do I know someone in UX related positions that would be interested? So it's mostly for games, but there's also for tech in general. So you can join that group. I think that's about it. Well, thank you everyone for participating. I hope that's going to be useful. And again, be safe. And I hope everyone is going to be okay, and that you all soon going to find a job, your dream job, and that we're soon going to be able to have a normal life again. Take care and have a great day or evening, or night, depending on where you are. And I'll see you around very soon. Bye.